welcome to another video and welcome to day 18 of Vlogmas. So today, as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail and all that jazz, we are doing a very large unhaul. I'm going to do part 1 of my very large unhaul now. Part 2 I'm going to be filming later. So before we get into that, I need to unwrap my 9th book on my Bookmas advent calendar. So let's see what we've got. It's another Christmas book. It is All I Want for Christmas by Maggie Knox. So this is super cute. This is following Sadie and Max, who are contestants on a reality singing show. They are paired up and stun the world with their onstage chemistry. So the judges demand that they remain a duo, so they have to then fake a relationship. The problem is they don't like each other. So yeah, this sounds like it's going to be really, really good. Fake relationship, rivals to lovers. I'm excited. I am very excited. I will be trying to get to this one this month if I can. If I can't, it will roll over soon. That is not going to be one that is unhauled. Right, speaking of the unhaul though, I have got a large pile in front of me. I don't know how many books are here, but I'm going to give you a count at the end when we've done all of the unhauls. So this pile are the books that either I have DNF'd over the last few months, or the books that I've read and was kind of meh about, or they are books that I'm just glancing at my shelves have decided, you know what, they're just not for me. This isn't me going through any of the books ruthlessly. So I haven't actually ruthlessly gone through any of my shelves yet. These are kind of like the first wave. I am going to go through all of my shelves ruthlessly, and enough of that. Let's run through what we've got here. So, top of the pile, The Time Traveller's Wife by Audrey Niffenegger. Niffenegger. I don't really know how you say her name. Time Traveller's Wife. I bought this because I had to read it very quickly for work. I already own a copy at my parents' house. I'm not the biggest fan of the book. I don't want to reread it, so I'm not going to own it. Five Little Liars by Amanda K. Morgan. I read this one a few months ago. It was fairly meh. It was a bit boring. I'm not interested in keeping it, or reading it again, so it can go. You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Kweke Emezi. I DNF'd this book. I am very sorry. I know a lot of people love it. I got to page 82 and it just wasn't for me. I felt like it was going in a direction that I don't like. I did actually skip to the end and read the end, and it went in the direction that I thought it was going to, which I don't like. So not one for me. Midnight is the Darkest Hour by Ashley Winstead. I read this, I enjoyed it, it was fine. However, I'm not going to read it again. It's not a favourite thriller. Generally with thriller books, unless it's one that I absolutely loved, they all kind of go, even though like this was good. This was, I think, I like a 3.5. I enjoyed it, it was really good, but I don't want to read it again. Bound by Maddie Ballard. This is a non-fiction memoir. I worked on it. I've read it. As you can see, maybe you can't see, but I've like got notes and stuff in here. I'm not going to read it again, so somebody else will enjoy it. The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein by Kirsten White. This one has been saved in the last couple of unhauls when I've unhauled other books by Kirsten White. I did start reading it. I've still got a bookmark in there. I DNF'd it at 40 pages. It's it just wasn't gripping me. I can see that this one would be really, really good for people who are into their kind of YA gothic horror, but that's just not for me. However, look at the flop on that. The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse by Charlie Mackey. I bought this a few years ago. I really enjoyed it. It's such a gorgeous, gorgeous book. I really loved looking through it. However, I've never revisited it. I don't think I'm going to ever kind of, you know, I don't flick back through it and think and look at any of it. It is beautiful. I really enjoyed it, but I think somebody else can get more out of it than I can. Master of One by Jada Jones and Danny Bennett. I really, really enjoyed this book. I gave this book 5 stars. I had such a fantastic time reading it, but there has been no news of a sequel. It ends on a bit of a cliffhanger. There's not even like any inclination that there's going to be a sequel. I don't need to keep it any longer when it's a book that I don't hear anybody talking about. I had a great time with it when I read it, but I don't know if I would enjoy it as much if I read it again. And I've kind of just been holding on to it for when the sequel comes out, but I don't think there is going to be a sequel, or if there is, I don't know when it's coming out. Winterwood by Shay Earnshaw. Again, I really enjoyed this one when I read it. I've even got tabs in here. I used to not tab at all. I had a really good time with this one when I read it. I really enjoyed it. I'm not going to read it again. So for that reason, it's going to be unhauled. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I didn't enjoy this book. I didn't get the hype. I gave this one 3 stars, I think. It's just not a book for me. I just didn't like it. I didn't get it. So I think somebody else will absolutely love this book. Dearest Intimate by Sushan Christine Lim. This is one that I was supposed to read on a read-along, but I did not read it. It does sound really interesting. It says it's a multi-layered tale about love, sisterhood, spousal abuse and Cantonese opera in the lives of 3 generations of women. And I think it would be interesting, but it just is a literary fiction book that I just don't think I personally am going to pick up anytime soon. I think somebody else will enjoy that though. That Dead Man Dance by Kim Scott. So this is written by a Aboriginal Australian author, and it is about, I think it is just about being an Aboriginal child in Australia when the English came over. I bought this one for my Read the World challenge, where I was trying to read a book by an author from every country in the world, and for places like Australia I wanted to go Own Voices and Indigenous authors. I don't actually have any interest in reading this book, so I think somebody else might. Cleat Cute by Meryl Wilsoner. This is the Afterlight edition. This is a soccer romance between 2 girls. I have no interest in football. Honestly, you could fit all of my interest in football on like the head of a pin. 0, like literally less than 0. I just don't care at all about football. I've been holding on to it because I thought, well, I'll give it a try. Because it did come in a book box, you know, I'll at least try it. I saw Becca from Becca and the Books had picked this one up and started reading it. She also had said she had 0 interest in football. She read the first couple of chapters and was like, oh, it's too football-y heavy, like it's very football heavy. So I was just like, you know what, I'm not even going to try it. for a lot of sports romances, even though I'm not into the sport seems to be secondary to the romance, whereas in this one it seems like the sport is primary. Okay, we've got a few more to go through. The Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon by Sarah Hawley. Unfortunately, I DNF'd this one at about 100 pages in. I just don't think that these sort of witchy romances are for me. Things We Say in the Dark by Kirsty Logan. This is a collection of short stories and kind of almost like vignettes, but it just isn't for me. I just wasn't interested. It wasn't scary, it was just weird, and I don't really enjoy it. A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. This is the very, very pretty very, very pretty Fairy Loot edition. I really didn't enjoy this book, so I'm not going to keep it. I didn't like it. Incendiary by Zoraida Cordova. This is actually an Owl Crate edition, but I don't know if the cover is at all different, if it's a special edition in any way. I really liked this book when it came out. I read it, I had a good time. I say I really liked it. I think I gave it like a 4-star. It was good, I enjoyed it. I do have an e-arc of the sequel, but I would need to reread this one to read the sequel. I have no interest in rereading this one, so I'm not going to get to the sequel, so this one can go. The Wren in the Holly Library by K.A. Lind. Again, this one is a Fairy Loot edition. Very, very pretty edges. I DNF'd this one at this pink tab, which is quite far in, 215 pages in. I didn't like the writing. I was quite bored throughout, but there was basically the reason I DNF'd this one is incredibly petty. There was a line that just gave me the ick. I really disliked it. The line was, "He nipped at the nipple." And I was like, there's so much wrong with that. Read another couple of chapters just to see if I was overreacting. I was incredibly bored, so I DNF'd. So I'm not going to keep a book that I DNF'd. And finally on this pile, The Devil in the Dark Water by Stuart Turton. This one, I read The Last Murder at the End of the Road by Stuart Turton earlier this year. I didn't really enjoy it, so I thought I'd get rid of this one. I haven't heard the best of things about this book, and to be honest, the plot of this one, I think it's set in like 1634. This one probably intrigues me the least of the Stuart Turton books. I have already unhauled The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle because I just wasn't into it. It was on a self-destruction books and I unhauled it. So this one is also going. That is part 1 done. Okay, so this is part 2 of the unhaul. What I'm going to do is a similar kind of format to Riley Marie. So I'm going to go through, take books off my shelf and then decide which ones I want to keep or not keep. I'm not going to do that with every single book on my TBR, but only on like the specific shelves where I'm like, do you know what, there's a few question marks here. But let me just go and explain something first. This shelf here, this one that's kind of on my left, when I originally set up my library, this was intended to be a shelf of all of my read books, with this shelf here on the right being all of my unread books. At the moment, I've obviously expanded into like shelves either side as well. At the moment, my read books are only the top 3 shelves of this bookcase, so I am ideally wanting to clear the bottom 3 shelves on this one so I can bring all of my read books back here and have my unread books, well, really on this bookcase, and you can't see it, I'm in the way, this tall and narrow one. That's kind of my plan. That is quite a few books to get rid of, so we're going to just really see how we get on, and I think we are going to come over here and we are going to start with this shelf. Let me just down on the floor. So I'm going to start off with ones you can't see. Priory of the Orange Tree, Day of Fallen Night. Oh, I forgot to say something. I have another fun idea fun idea, to add some chaos into the mix. Anything that I put on my, like, that I pull off the shelves now, that is a kind of, I think I'm going to want to get rid of. There's going to be some that I'm like 100% unhaul, but there's going to be some that are a question mark. Any of those question marks, they are going to go up on my Instagram stories today. Today is the 21st of November, so this will have all happened by the time you're watching this. So yeah, these are going to go up on my Instagram stories as like polls. Should I unhaul? Should I keep? I'm going to have options of, like, you know, which one of these three should I unhaul, things like that. So I'm going to be handing a certain amount of my unhaul options over to you if you follow me on Instagram, or, you know, there. Okay, so first of all, Priory of the Orange Tree, Day of Fallen Night. These books intimidate me, but I also kind of want to read them. These are going to be options I'm sending to Instagram. Should I read them or not? Let's start off in the corner. Okay, Jodie Picoult, I've got Mad Honey and Wish You Were Here. They're both going to stay. I'm going to take both of these ones down. Actually, I'm going to just pull off the books and I'm going to talk about them in a second. So I've pulled off quite a few books there. That has made quite a difference, which is good. The Heights by Louise Candlish. I don't really know much about this one. I don't know whether I think I'm going to enjoy it or not. So this is someone who sees a man who has been dead for the last 2 years, and the reason you know he's been dead for the last 2 years is you're the one that killed him. So this is a thriller. It sounds like it's going to be twisty. It sounds like it's going to be a good time. I do have this on like a recommendation from my friend Lex, who is my like go-to thriller girl, but I haven't picked it up and I don't know if I will, so I'm going to pop that one on the Instagram to choose pile. Casey McCriston, I Kissed Sarah Wheeler. Shara Wheeler. I've always been saying Sarah. Anyway, I Kissed Shara Wheeler. I don't know. I've said before, I'm not the world's biggest fan of red, white and royal blue, and so I haven't read anything else by Casey McCriston. Of the other books that she's got out, this one probably intrigues me the least, but also on the off chance that I decide that, you know, that I read something else and decide I do like Casey McCriston, should I keep this one? Again, it's a hardback, and this is it. Same with The Heights. I don't like thrillers and I don't like romances in hardback. Don't ask me why, it doesn't make sense, it's just the way I am. So that one is going to go to Instagram. Some Kind of Wonderful by Giovanna Fletcher. So I picked this one up in a charity shop for £1.25. Because it is by Giovanna Fletcher, and I like Tom Fletcher from McFly, and I like the Eve of Man series, which G and Tom have written, so I thought I would buy the book. I haven't read it. It is a kind of contemporary romance. Lizzie and Ian have been a couple since the first week of university. They've been together for a decade, but then they break up. So yeah, who should she be without Ian? So it's kind of, I guess, like almost like a second coming of age, where, you know, where you have to kind of like rediscover yourself as an adult. I don't know what I think. I'm going to give that one again to Instagram. Instagram are going to be making a lot of decisions for me. My Own Worst Enemy by Lily Linden. Okay, so this one here, I did request from the publisher because it sounds fun. But then again, like I said, I don't really like romance in hardback, and I haven't picked it up and I haven't read it. This one follows two drama school, well, two actors who both look similar, so they are always kind of typecast for the same person. So they're always up against each other in auditions, but then they start to fall for each other. And I'm just a bit question mark on, is this a book that I think I'm going to enjoy? Is it one that I want to read? I don't know. Instagram can make that choice for me. The Skeleton Key by Erin Kelly. This is one that actually I worked on a couple of years ago. Was it last year or was it the year before? I think it was the year before last. Oh, it was written in 2022, so yeah, it was the year before last. And the cover is beautiful. And the synopsis sounds really intriguing. As you might be able to see, because there's a bookmark in here, I have started reading it and then I stopped reading it at page 33. And I don't really have a reason on why I stopped reading it other than I stopped reading it. It does sound good. It does intrigue me. Sorry about the sneezing. That is Bella. Yeah, it sounds good. It intrigues me, but I'm not sure if it is a book that I'm going to be reaching for. So Instagram make that choice. Okay, Reprieve by James Han Matson. I have literally only like 2 months ago got this book. This one my friend Alexis gave to me because she's leaving the country and so she had to get rid of some books. It has very pretty sprayed edges. This one is a horror and I think it is a sort of escape room horror. This one's staying. Oh, I love it when I can make my own decisions. Doesn't happen very often. All right, My Darling Daughter by J.P. Delaney. Again, another thriller that I don't know what I think of. This is somebody who is contacted by the child that she gave up 15 years ago. And the birth mother thinks that the adopted child is being abused, I think. I don't know what I think. I'm not sure if I will get to it or what I'm going to think of it. So Instagram make that decision. Sundial by Catriona Ward. I liked The Last House on Needless Street by Catriona Ward. I haven't read anything else. I don't know if this one is as good. This was sent to me by the publisher because I've just found this in here. From Viper. I think this is a case of like the children are creepy. This does sound good, but I kind of need somebody to tell me to read it, if I'm totally honest. And finally on this shelf, Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. This is another one that I was sent by the publisher. I do like Greek myth retellings. I don't know the story of Ariadne, and I don't know if I'm going to find Jennifer Saint a little bit dry. I don't know why I think that, but I do. So someone else can make that choice. Okay, hi, we're quite low down now. Next we've got our two book box shelves. So I'm going to just, again, pull the books off and then we'll talk about them in a sec. So the book box bookshelves. We've got This Vicious Grace by Emily Theed. I don't actually know very much about it. I don't know if I have done, I think I have done the first chapter challenge once on this one. This has been on my TBR for quite a while. This may have even come in a YA box. 2022, so it's been on my TBR for 2 years. It's something to do with this woman who's got magic powers and she kind of has to marry somebody, but every time she marries somebody, to like kind of mix her powers with theirs, but every time she marries someone she kills them. I don't know. It's not one I gravitate to, but I don't know. The Drowned Woods by Emily Lloyd-Jones. This one is set in Wales. And it follows someone who is a water diviner. And says part heist novel, part dark fairy tale, and rich with Welsh legends. Perfect for fans of Kristen Kashaw and Maria V. Snyder. I haven't read anything by either of them. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to pick that one up. Of Jade and Dragons by Amber Chen. This one is a very new one. This one only came in an Illuma crates within the last 2 or 3 months. This one is a kind of, I think this is a Mulan it is a Mulan retelling. Sort of. She's disguised as her brother and manages to infiltrate the male-only apprenticeship. I read the first chapter and I wasn't intrigued. But I think... I actually don't remember. One of these two is on the Goodreads Choice Awards list. And I don't remember which one, actually. I think it's this one. Yeah, this one is like a kind of steampunk Mulan retelling. But I'm going to move on to The Night Ends with Fire, which I think is also a Mulan retelling. Yeah, this one is also Mulan. And dragons. And again, I don't know if I like Mulan retellings, or I don't know if I like Mulan retellings enough to want to have 2 books that are Mulan retellings. So those 2 are going on the unhaul pile. The Hurricane Wars by Thea Guanzo. Okay, this one is tricky because this one actually was on my 5-star prediction list for 2024. Then I heard some not so good things about it. Then I did a first chapter challenge and really was not at all intrigued and actually was very unintrigued. No, I think I want to keep this one. I think I want to try it again at least. Violet Made of Thorns by Gina Chen. Again, this is one where I recently did a first chapter challenge and I was really bored. It says it's a darkly enchanting fantasy debut about a morally grey witch, a cursed prince, and a prophecy that ignites their fate to twisted destinies. Perfect for fans of The Cruel Prince and Serpent and Dove. I don't think I've heard anybody talk about it, so I will get somebody else to make a decision. Lies We Sing to the Sea by Sarah Underwood. Genuinely zero interest. That one's going to go straight on the unhaul pile, actually. I'm not even going to put that one. I'm not even giving that one an opportunity to be saved. After the Forest by Kel Woods. This one I think is a Hansel and Gretel retelling. Yeah, Hansel and Gretel retelling. Set sort of for 20 years after Hansel and Gretel have escaped the witch. It does sound interesting. I just don't know if I'm going to pick it up. Also, really sorry about the scratching. That is the cat. And then finally on this shelf, The True Blood Omnibus by Charlene Harris. I really like the True Blood TV series. Am I going to read the book? I don't know. Am I? Will I? Who knows? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the book is good. I know nothing about True Blood book. Right, I'm going to shelves that we're going to talk about. So let's go through them. Let's start with... this part because it's smaller. So these are the thrillers. An Unwanted Inheritance by Imogen Clark. Okay, this one I got through work. This book basically has like has a reputation, shall we say, at Tandem. And I picked up a copy. It's about three siblings whose father dies, and then as they're emptying his house, they find a suitcase full of money. And what do you do with it? I am intrigued, but I honestly don't know if I will pick this one up. So Instagram may choose. Another book that I got through work, That Woman by Helen Monks Takar. This seems to be women on women hate. So when Catherine first meets her new intern Lily, she's captivated. Young, beautiful and confident, Lily reminds Catherine of everything she once was, and it's not long before she develops a dark fascination with her new colleague. But is Lily as perfect as she seems, or does she have a sinister hidden agenda? As Catherine is drawn into an obsessive power struggle with the intern, a disturbing picture emerges of two women hiding dark secrets, and who are desperate enough to do anything to come out on top. I don't know what I think of this, so again, someone else will make a choice. Girl Forgotten by Karen Slaughter. To be totally honest, I don't really know anything about it. I've never read Karen Slaughter, and I think I picked it up in a charity shop because it's by Karen Slaughter, for no other reason than that. It does sound interesting. A teenage girl who's hiding a secret. She's murdered on the night of prom. 40 years later, her killer has got away with murder, but now the truth is out and they're about to strike again. Yeah. Actually, that does sound quite good, doesn't it? I think I'm going to keep that one. I can go back in the space there. Body Language by A.K. Turner. This one is about a mortuary technician. Yeah, it's about a mortuary technician. Sounds good, sounds creepy, sounds intriguing. I don't know if I'm going to pick it up though. Reputation by Sarah Vaughan. This one is a woman who is an MP, devoted mother, and is innocent of the murder of a journalist. She is also a liar. The story you tell about yourself and the lies others choose to believe. I think this is more of like a kind of courtroom drama, so which isn't my favourite, but we'll let others choose. And then on the thriller side, I have Conviction by Jack Jordan. So I read Do No Harm by Jack Jordan, and it was fine, but I didn't love it. So because of that, I'm not sure how I feel about Conviction. This is again a courtroom drama. Got a man who's accused of murdering his family, and then Neve is the barrister defending him. The odds aren't in her favour, but she's always liked to challenge. Days before the trial begins, she's approached by a man late at the night on the tube. She doesn't know him, but he knows her and the secret she's vowed to take to her grave. The man tells her she must throw her client's case. If she doesn't, he will reveal her darkest act to the world. Neve must make a choice, go against every principle she's ever had, or watch everything she's built be destroyed. Guilty, innocent, his freedom or hers. It does sound interesting, but I don't know what I think. Next here I've got a big pile of kind of more literary books. I don't read a lot of literary fiction or historical fiction. Every now and then I do dabble, but it's not my kind of like go-to genre. So we've got The Silence of the Girls by Pat Barker. This one is, I think, the first in Pat Barker's trilogy that I don't know what it's called. But they're Greek myth retellings. This one is about the Trojan War. So Helen is kidnapped by Trojans. In the Greek camp, there is another captured queen, Briseis. She's condemned to be a bed slave to Achilles, the man who butchered her family. And it is Briseis's, I don't know if I'm saying that right, her story. I like Pat Barker. I've read her Regeneration trilogy, which I really, really enjoyed. And I do like I said, Greek myth retellings. I've actually just read B. Fitzgerald's The End Crowns All, which is again a Trojan War story. So that's actually made me slightly more intrigued. But again, I've had this one on my shelves. Okay, it came out in 2019. I'll have had this one on my shelves probably since 2021. Probably. I don't actually know when I got it, but it's been on my shelves for at least 2 years and I just don't know if I'm gonna pick it up. The Sahia by Paulo Coelho, which I can never pronounce. I'm sorry. I don't know what I think of this one. So this is about a renowned author who discovers that his wife has disappeared without a trace. His search for her and the truth of his own life takes him from South America to Spain, France, Croatia, and essentially Asia. More than that, it leads into a new understanding of the nature of love, power of destiny, and what it really means to follow your heart. I don't know if I'm going to pick it up. I'll be totally honest. The Librarian of Auschwitz by Antonio Iturbe. Really struggling then with what book it is. I picked this one up after I'd read The Tattooist of Auschwitz, and I was again intrigued by Second World War and Auschwitz particularly. This is a part of history that has always intrigued me. I actually wrote my undergrad dissertation on Second World War literature, particularly children's literature. But yeah, so this is an area that does intrigue me, does interest me. But again, this has been on my shelves for a few years now. I don't know if I'm going to actually pick it up. I don't know. The Long Petal of the Sea by Isabel Allende. I don't know. This one's about the Spanish Civil War. Him and his sister are forced out of Barcelona and into exile. And it's over the course of 4 generations. I'm not the biggest fan of multi-generational books. I just don't know on this one. So again, can someone else make a decision for me, please? Okay. The Shadow of the Wind and The Watcher in the Shadows by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. I believe these are books 1 and 2 in the Shadow of the Wind series. And Shadow of the Wind, I don't know, I've heard good things about it and it intrigues me. But at the same time, I don't think it intrigues me enough to read it. Like, it sounds like a very classic historical fantasy, but not one that I'm like dying to read. I feel like it's one of those books where there's always something more shiny, new and exciting above it in my mind. So those two, I need somebody to either persuade me yay or nay. Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. Sorry, pronunciations are bad today. This one is a Japanese book, I think, about Clara who... No, it isn't. This one follows Clara, who's an artificial friend. It's a kind of sci-fi utopia book, maybe, and about kind of AI coming to life, I guess. I don't know what I've started reading this one and it was fine, but it wasn't intriguing me massively. So I don't know. I do not know. Next, I've got The Never King by James Abbott. Full disclosure, I bought this one because my initials are JA and his initials are JA, and every now and then in read-alongs and things like that there will be a prompt saying find a book with your initials in it or find an author with your initials, and I can never ever find an author with my initials apart from Jane Austen. So I was like, well, this will do, but I don't actually know if I'm interested in the book. Xavier Argentum is rotting in jail, sentenced to life in the squalor of Hell's Keep, a punishment for an atrocity he didn't commit. The once legendary commander is all but forgotten. His elite band of warriors are dead, and his kingdom he is poised to inherit is oppressed by the tyrant who framed him. I don't think I'm ever going to read that. That one's going to go straight on the unhaul pile, actually. Sorry. Okay. Okay, we are nearly there. Last small pile. Actually, we're not. We've got a whole other bookcase to go through. Tip in the Velvet by Sarah Waters. Some people really like this. I don't know if I'm going to be one of those people. If we're totally honest, I just don't know. So, I don't know what it's about. It's a reimagining of late Victorian life, chronicling the adventures of Nan King, who begins life as an oyster girl in Whitstable. Her fortunes are forever changed when she falls in love with a cross-dressing music hall performer, the dashing Kitty Butler. Can someone tell me whether or not to read that? The Unsinkable Greta James by Jennifer E. Smith. Right, okay, so with this one, as you can tell, I picked it up in the works on 3 for £6. This one was a third book, and by that I mean I'd already got 1 or 2 books on the 3 for £6, and this was the third one I needed to get the offer. It's about a woman, Greta James, whose mother suddenly dies and she falls apart. She's very heartbroken, agrees to accompany her father on a cruise, and it's her sort of finding her life. The only person I've heard talk about this is Meg from Meg with Books, who really liked it, but she had said that she felt it was a book that not everybody would like, so I just don't know if it's one that I'm gonna enjoy. People of Abandoned Character by Claire Whitfield. Again, this is a book I worked on Claire Whitfield's other book, which I can't remember the name of. And this one sounds interesting. It's historical. Susanna rushes into marriage with a surgeon. His behaviour becomes volatile and violent. He stays all night, returning bloodied and full of secrets. I think this is a... Oh yeah, it literally says that. Is her husband the man the papers called Jack the Ripper? That does sound good. Again, will I pick it up? The Secret of Elephants by Vashindra Taylor. This one sounds cute. It's about a woman who is caring for her sick son. Then a mysterious letter arrives to her long dead father from Zimbabwe. It opens a door to a past Nirmala never knew existed and a future she never imagined possible. If the letter can be believed, not only does she have family in Africa, but they might hold the answers to a family mystery that spans 3 generations. It does sound intriguing. Will I enjoy it? You tell me. Finally, out of this pile, Girl, Woman, Other by Bernardine Evaristo. I do think I will enjoy this book. This book has been on my TBR for at least 4 years. I think I got it in 2020. Published in 2019. I either would have got this in 2019 or 2020. And I've never picked it up. Will I pick it up? Who knows? Okay. Last pile. Okay. Last stack. I'm going to start off with the ones from my ARC shelf. So I've got Every Shade of Happy by Felida Shrimpton. This one I got in a book swap, so I haven't actually owned it since 2022. I was told this is like The 100 Years of Lenny and Margot, but not quite as good. So because of that, do I want to read it? The Search for the Black Mirror by Helena Duggan. This is book 2 in a series. I haven't got or read book 1. I have read A Place Called Perfect, well, book 1 from A Place Called Perfect by Helena Duggan, but I didn't continue that series, so I'm not sure if she is an author that I'm going to enjoy. This is I'm Fucking Amazing by Anushka Warden. I'll be honest, I got sent this one from a publisher. They asked me if I was interested in it, and I was like, yeah, actually that sounds interesting. Then when I got it, and I was like, actually, I don't think I am interested in it. So I'll read you the synopsis. Hers used to work perfectly. It found fingerings, orgasm and love. But now, as she moves into her 30s, completely committed to serious boyfriend number 3, it can't get wet, it hurts, it might be broken. Surely there must be some way to get it going again. Setting off on a desperate quest to fix her fanny, there's no limit to what she'll try, but nothing seems to be working. What becomes of a happily ever after for a woman who can't stand sex with the best guy ever? I don't think I'm interested in that. I'm not interested in that. That was easy. Oh, I forgot. I am going to be unhauling Death Note Volume 1. I have read this one, but I don't think I'm going to continue with the series, so I don't need to hold on to volume 1. I did really enjoy it. I just don't think it's a series that I'm going to continue. Compound Fracture by Andrew Joseph White and The Spirit Bears Its Teeth by Andrew Joseph White. I got sent both of these. Actually, I got sent 3 books by Andrew Joseph White. I don't know if any of them interest me. I'm going to actually put all 3 on and yeah, see whether I should get rid of any of them. So last year I sort of thought, oh, I'm going to try and sample a few different mangas to see if manga is something I'm interested in. So I bought a load of mangas. I read Death Note and that's it, I think. I haven't read any others. So I've got Bloody Mary, which, oh, is a vampire book. That sounds quite good, actually. I'm keeping that one. We've got Black and White, which is a 2 actors who... Shin is a brand new actor, unfairly typecast as a villain, and Shing, his secret lover since college, is a rising star who often gets the role of the heartthrob good guy. With Shing's popularity on the rise and Shin's awkward personality making him resemble the villains he plays, the 2 can't risk being seen together for fear of tainting Shing's image. And to complicate matters further, the relationship has lacked physical intimacy since their disastrous first time together. Every good role needs its conflict, but will this couple call it a wrap when they find themselves in the spotlight? I'm not sure that intrigues me anymore. Flying Witch. I've read volume 1. It was cute. I own volume 2. I don't know if I'm going to continue the series, so those 2. And then Spirited Away. Okay, so look, I'm not the Studio Ghibli fangirl that so many people are. I don't think I've ever seen Spirited Away. I think this manga is inspired by the book rather than the other way round, but I might be wrong. I don't know if I'm ever going to read it. And then I've got a few YAs here. XOXO by Axie O. I picked this one up at Yalk in 2022. And full disclosure, the only reason that I picked it up and that it is still on my TBR is because every year I try and do an A to Z challenge, and this is the only book I've ever found that begins with X. That's not really a good enough reason to keep a book on my TBR, as I never pick it up. Blackout by various authors. It sounds interesting. When their heatwave plunges New York City into darkness, sparks fly for 13 teenagers caught up in the blackout. A first meeting, long-term friends, bitter exes, and maybe the beginning of something new. When the lights go out, people reveal hidden truths. Love blossoms, friendship transforms, and new possibilities take flight. It sounds really intriguing, but again, I just don't know if I'm ever going to read it. I do read YA, but not that much anymore. Next, I've got 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. I picked this one up because I like the show. I don't know if I ever will read the book. The Cheerleaders by Cara Thomas. This one does sound intriguing. It gives me very much Karen McManus vibes. Of course, it's a YA thriller. 5 girls in the squad died in one terrible summer 5 years ago. Monica's sister was the last to die, and Monica is sure there's more to her sister's death than anyone will admit. But whatever happened that summer isn't over, and as secrets emerge and lies start to unravel, Monica finds herself at the centre of it all. Now she's going to get answers, whether she wants them or not. Intriguing. And then I've got here, I've got one more YA, Small Favours by Erin A. Craig. I really liked House of Salt and Sorrows, and I have been sent Erin A. Craig's new one, The 13th Child. I'm going to keep this. Okay, got 4 more books to talk about. 3 of them are middle grades. The Secret of the Blood Red Key by David Farr. Oh, this is a sequel as well, the dazzling follow-up to the phenomenal Book of Stolen Dreams. All right, well, I haven't read book 1. The Royal Jewel Plot by A.M. Howell. This one is the Mysteries at Sea, and this one is the sequel to Peril on the Atlantic, which I do own actually. I've got an arc of Peril on the Atlantic. I'm going to keep this one. Echo North by Joanna Ruth Mayer. I picked this one up on a recommendation from Jade at Jade Ray Reads when she was doing a polathon, or when she read a lot of middle grade. Anyway, she recommended it. This is a East of the Sun, West of the Moon retelling. I read Northchild and I thought it was okay. I didn't really love the story. Like, I didn't love the original. I thought it was fine. So I'm not sure that I want to read another retelling of the same story. And then this one, I haven't even hauled this book yet. This is how bad it is. The Crescent Moon Tea Room by Stacey Savinsky. Okay, so like I said, I haven't actually hauled this one. I got sent it last month. I got sent it in October. This is a kind of witchy cozy romance. And I got sent it because I was working on it. However, I discovered last month, having DNF'd A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon, that I don't like witchy cozy romances. The Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon was the second witchy cozy romance that I had DNF'd since, like, the one out of the ones that I've read. I've read The Ex-Hex, which I thought was like fine. I think I gave it like 3 stars, but that's been the only one that I've finished. So I don't think I'm even going to try this one because I haven't enjoyed any of the other witchy cozy romances that I have read. So I now have got quite a large pile of books that Instagram are going to help me out with. Let's see if I can show you these polls that I put up on Instagram. Apologies for the very awkward angle. It's just what we're going with. Also, apologies for the pile of shit behind me. It's just what we're dealing with today. I have got all of the books piled up around me, and we're going to go through them, not necessarily in any, well, in a vague order. What I'm going to pop the results of the polls up here, but what I am going to say is that anything where there is a pretty much 50-50 split, I'm going to be having the deciding vote, obviously. And yeah, I haven't seen, and I'm hoping that I can get rid of like a good amount of books here, because I'm actually quite happy with the amount of space I've got on my shelves at the moment. I don't necessarily want to get rid of all of them, but anyway, let's get started. So the first ones I've got in front of me here are The Unsinkable Greta James and the Zahir. So the result of the poll, which again I'll pop up here, was Keep Greta James. One of my friends has actually already requested the Zahir, so that one's definitely going. And yeah, I am going to keep Greta James. Yay. 1 down. Next, let's talk about The Drowned Woods by Emily Lloyd Jones. So this one was pretty much 50-50. Again, let's put it over here so you can see the results up there. It's pretty much smack bang 50-50. So that means I need to make a decision. I'm going to have a quick look on Storygraph and just see what people are saying about it, and if there's anybody I follow who has read it. Because this is one of these books, it came in an Illuma crate, and I don't feel like I have heard anybody talk about it. Okay, one of my friends has read it. It's got an average of 3.9 stars, which I think is pretty... Okay, I'm going to keep it. That's a pretty high average rating. I feel like as well on Storygraph, because you can do 0.5 and like 0.75 stars, the average ratings are more accurate. So for basically a 4-star book, I'll keep it, I will give it a go. Alright, we're next going to go with another pair, which is Tipping the Velvet and People of Abandoned Character. I did use some sort of logic to pair these up. These two are both vaguely Victorian. Which Victorian book stays? People of Abandoned Character. So I will be unhauling Tipping the Velvet, and I am going to keep People of Abandoned Character. Then these ones, Shadow of the Wind and The Watcher in the Shadows. Shadow of the Wind, I can't find where it is. I've screenshot them all, so I'm trying to find out where which one is. So this one was pretty much 50-50, but slightly closer towards Unhaul. So this is a book about books, but I'll be totally honest, I feel like book about books is a keyword that I always think should be buzzwordy for me, but actually isn't. Because it's not a trope that I go completely feral over. Do you know? I think I'm going to unhaul these. Decision made. YA, we've got The Cheerleaders and 13 Reasons Why. Where is it? There it is. Actually, this one, I did it as Which One Stays. This one is closer than I thought it was. Cheerleaders got 54%, 13 Reasons Why got 46%. I think I will unhaul 13 Reasons Why. I've seen the show. I know what's going to happen. Do I need to read the book? Probably not. Do I want to read the book though? I kind of do want to read the book. I'm going to unhaul it. Cheerleaders, I will keep the Cheerleaders for now. Whether it stays forever is another question. Okay. After the Forest by Kel Woods. This one I think was an even split. Let's see. 52 to 48%. So 52% keep. It sounds like it's going to be cozy. Whoops. I'm once again going to go to Storygraph and see what people say over there. What's it called? After the Forest. .77. Quite a few 5 stars. Okay, I'm going to choose, I'm keeping After the Forest. Yay. I've then got this pairing of Clara and the Sun and the Librarian of Auschwitz. These ones, so the poll result was to get rid of the Librarian, and again one of my friends has requested this book, so she will be getting that one. 42% of people told me to get rid of Clara and the Sun. I think I'm also going to get rid of Clara and the Sun. It's feeling good. Okay, this pair, The Secret of Elephants and The Long Petal of the Sea. So this one was pretty much exactly 50-50 split. I think I'm going to get rid of A Long Petal of the Sea. This one is also like a multi-generational book. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I kind of want to keep them both, but I also don't think I'm going to read them, which suggests that I should get rid of them both. Do I ever see myself picking up The Secret of Elephants? No. Do I ever see myself picking up The Long Petal of the Sea? A Long Petal of the Sea. Also no. Okay, those two have gone. That was hard. I Kissed Shara Wheeler. Let's hopefully have an easy one here. Shara Wheeler, 58% of people told me to get rid. I will be getting rid. Echo North. This one was again pretty much 50-50. I think I'm going to get rid of Echo North. I just don't think it is a book that I'm going to pick up. I feel like I'm holding on to it for the fact that there might one day be a read along where I like a readathon or something where there's a prompt which this would fit, but that seems a really silly reason to like hold on to a book, so I think I'm going to get rid of Echo North. Let's go with these ones over here, Reputation and Conviction. Okay, that was overwhelming. Reputation, 67% should go. I am going to keep Conviction. I will give it a go. My friend Lex really enjoys Jack Jordan, so I will give him another chance. We've then got Secret of the Blood Red Key and Search for the Black Mirror, which were 50-50. I'm actually going to get rid of both of them. I hadn't realised until I pulled them off the shelves that they're both second books in a series. I don't own or have any interest in the first books of either series. Cat hair on my tongue, sorry. Both of them were sent to me unsolicited. I never asked for either of them, so I'm going to unhaul both. Oh, this is feeling good. Violet Made of Thorns. 75% of you told me to get rid of Violet Made of Thorns, so I will listen. We've then got My Own Worst Enemy by Lily Linden. This one was, again, a very close one. It is slightly towards go, but I kind of want to keep it. Right, this is going to sound really stupid, but if this was a paperback, I probably wouldn't even be having this discussion. The only reason I'm thinking about unhauling it is because it's a hardback, and I just don't like hardbacks. I don't like romance in hardback. Don't ask me why, it doesn't make sense. Same reason as I don't like thrillers in hardback. I like them to be paperbacks, and I think part of that, actually, I think the reason there would be, for me, both thrillers, more so thrillers, but both thrillers and romance are kind of fun one-time reads, whereas fantasy, I will revisit a fantasy book. I don't typically revisit a thriller or a romance, so it seems like, well, why do I want to keep a hardback? But I think I will keep this one, and I'm going to just pause there. Okay, angle may have changed because I've moved. Right, let's continue. The Heights. Let's try that one again. The Heights by Louise Candlish. 80% said unhaul. We will unhaul. That one is easy. My Darling Daughter by J.P. Delaney. 76% said unhaul. That one will go. I'm going to just crack through a couple more quick ones here. Sundial versus True Blood. Again, you can probably guess the result of this one. Which one stays? 80% said keep sundial, get rid of true blood. I am gonna do exactly that. Giovanna Fletcher, 75% said unhaul, and again, one of my friends has asked me for this one, so she'll be getting that. And then I've got these three. So which should I keep out of body language, that woman, and an unwanted inheritance? 72% of people said keep body language. So I'm unhauling that woman and an unwanted inheritance. Okay, that was a bit of a quick fire break. Let's go to the next part. I can't find where this one is. Right, The Silence of the Girls and Ariadne. So again, I put this one on a slider. Which one is staying? It was pretty much 50-50, ever so slightly leaning towards Ariadne staying. But I think I'm going to keep them both. I don't actually know what Ariadne is about. Do I know the myth of Ariadne? It's a Minotaur. I think I'm gonna keep them both. Maybe I shouldn't have, but that's what we're doing. Crescent Moon Tea Room. This one was 62% get rid, and again, one of my friends has requested this one, so they will get that. We've then got here The Skeleton Key by Erin Kelly. This one is exactly 50-50, and this one still I find difficult. I think I will keep it, but I just need to read it. I just need to, you know, sometimes you're like, I just need to do the thing. Manga. So Spirited Away, Black or White, and Flying Witch. Unsurprisingly, where is the thingy? Spirited Away won by a very large proportion. I can't find where my screenshot of it is though. But I know that Spirited Away won by a huge proportion. However, I'm also going to keep Black or White. I will get rid of Flying Witch, but I'm keeping Black or White. Girl, Woman, Other. This is actually the only one where the winning vote was keep it. So I will listen to the people. I've then got the Andrew Joseph White collection, which are where? So Compound Fracture, The Spirit Bears Its Teeth, and Hell Followed With Us. So I said which one stays. Nobody really voted for Compound Fracture. That got 6% of the votes. I think it got one vote, and actually I'll be totally honest, that was me on my other account. I voted for Compound Fracture because I felt bad that I hadn't had any votes. Hell Followed With Us is the one that wins. So Hell Followed With Us is about a trans boy on the run from a cult that raised him, which does sound really good, so I am going to be keeping that one. But I am just going to have a look at The Spirit Bears Its Teeth and Compound Fracture. The Spirit Bears Its Teeth is historical, London 1883. About an autistic trans boy. Compound Fracture is again about a trans boy I think I'm going to keep Compound Fracture because that one sounds more interesting. That one sounds like a the night Miles Abernathy comes out as trans to his parent, he sneaks off to a party carrying evidence that may finally turn the tide of the blood feud plaguing Twist Creek. photos that prove the county sheriff Davis was responsible for the so-called accident that injured his dad, killed others and crushed their grassroots efforts to unseat him. The feud began 100 years ago when Miles's great-great-grandfather incited a miners' rebellion that ended in public execution at the hands of law enforcement. Now Miles becomes the feud's latest victim as the sheriff's son and his friends sniff out the evidence, following him through the woods and beat him nearly to death. I think that one sounds quite good. Historical sort of horror doesn't sound quite as intriguing to me, so I'll be getting rid of The Spirit Bears Its Teeth. Okay, I have got 3 more ones to go through here. Which one stays, Blackout or XOXO? Overwhelmingly, XOXO stay at 1, so XOXO got 65% of the vote to stay, which means I will unhaul Blackout. This one is actually quite a tricky one, if I can find where the poll is. So which dragon stays? The Night Ends with Fire or Of Jade and Dragons? And again, the poll is pretty much 50-50, slight, ever so slight lean towards The Night Ends with Fire. I think I'm actually going to keep Of Jade and Dragons, and I'm going to unhaul The Night Ends with Fire. I've read the first chapter of both, and I really wasn't intrigued by the first chapter of The Night Ends with Fire. It's a Mulan retelling, and it just didn't do it for me. Whereas the first chapter of Jade and Dragons also didn't massively intrigue me, but I think interests me slightly more. So I'm going to keep Of Jade and Dragons. And then finally, keep or unhaul Priory and A Day of Fallen Night. Overwhelming majority said keep, so these 2 behemoths are going back on my shelves. So that was the next part of this unhaul. I think I am going to end this unhaul here. I'm going to count up everything that I'm unhauling